Alright, we have lots to cover today. My last video was a little awkward to make just because I've been gone for so long and I just feel like I've missed so much in terms of Train Sim World news, but Train Sim World 4 is here and this video is going to be all about the announcement, the reveals, everything that has been revealed to the public so far for what exactly is coming to the game upon launch. And when I say the game, I mean Train Sim World 3 Deluxe, because that's basically what Train Sim World 4 is. I have some pretty strong opinions on the reveal and all of that stuff, and we will get into that in this video. Lots of things that I want to talk about. So this is releasing on September 26th, guys. And apparently if you pre-order this thing, you're going to get it a couple days early. I don't remember how many days. I think they said 5 days or something like that. So the 21st of September, the first full day of autumn in the Northern Hemisphere. First, before I get into anything, I want to shout out a user that commented on yesterday's video. Please consider covering the roadmaps and news articles. And you don't have to worry, it's not like this content isn't my cup of tea. I just definitely wanted to focus on the Northeast Corridor update because I kind of left off on that front when I vanished many months ago. So now that I got that covered, I'm ready to dive into everything, all the trains, all the routes. There's a lot of reading. This blog post seems pretty long, and it also seems like there is now a second part to this. So Mr. Microsoft text-to-speech man is going to be reading this, but we will definitely be talking about things as we go because, oh boy, do I sure have some thoughts. And a lot of my thoughts kind of come from the first reveal stream, the Dovetail Direct stream.
If you've been keeping up to date with everything going on, then you're probably fresh out of the mammoth 2+ hour long Dovetail Direct Train Sim World keynote where JD, Matt, Lucas, and Jordan went through everything you could possibly want to know about our next big release. If you missed it, don't worry. You can go back and view the whole thing again, if you want to, on YouTube.
It was a roller coaster. It was a lot to sit through. It was a lot of information to soak in at one period of time. For most of it, my reaction was kind of just like, what? Already? It hasn't even been a full year since Train Sim World 3 was released, and you already want to abandon it for 4? And I say abandon because that's basically what they do. When Train Sim World 3 came out, they basically abandoned Train Sim World 2, and most of the issues that existed with Train Sim World 2 routes, they fixed a few things here and there, but besides that, for the most part, generally, they abandoned it, and it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, it's the same game, Train Sim World 2020, Train Sim World 2, Train Sim World 3, Train Sim World 4. It's virtually all the same engine, it's virtually the same game, they're just upgrading and making improvements to things here and there. It doesn't warrant a new title and a new version every single year. If I am being honest with you, I think that's completely ridiculous. I would say pretty much everything that they're introducing with Train Sim World 4 that wasn't in 3, it just could have been patched into the game, honestly. And they could have just made these new routes a part of that existing game. I don't understand why they have to do this every single time. And now I'm thinking, if it hasn't even been a year since Train Sim World 3, how long until Train Sim World 5? Are we gonna have that by Christmas time? I mean, clearly just being a little sarcastic, but part of me is starting to think, are we gonna get Train Sim World 5 next year? Is it even worth fully investing in this, you know? All right, let's keep reading here.
But if you want to take your time reading all about it, we've got you covered. Below we'll outline each of the routes and locomotives, the shiny new gameplay features, the different options available including pre-order extras and early access. There's also some handy FAQs that should answer plenty of burning questions on Train Sim World 4.
I just remember watching this stream. I feel like this video is going to be so long. I feel like I'm going to do so much talking. But you know what? This is virtually just a news video. It's a discussion. It's a speculation video. It's basically all of the above. So there's going to be a lot of talking, a lot of discussion here. So if you don't like that, I guess just click off. But I remember just watching the Dovetail Direct and me thinking, okay, Train Sim World 4, there's gotta be some major gameplay overhaul. Like in my mind, I was hoping that we would finally get random events for service mode. I like service mode because there's so many different services to play. For each route, you see different trains, you take different paths, you stop at different stations, the stopping patterns are different, but for the most part, every single time you play one single specific service, it's going to be the same every single time. There really isn't much in terms of replay value with that. And I was really hoping that they would finally introduce random delays, random events, whatever you want to call them, dynamic delays, whatever, with Train Sim World 4, meaning it could be weather conditions or it could be not weather related, but as you're playing a service, something random could happen to either your train that you're driving or an AI train. You know, maybe the service that's heading in the same direction that is ahead of you breaks down. Someone pulls the emergency cord. You face random delays that you didn't expect, but because of those things, now every single time you play a service, you could have a different outcome, which honestly would make me want to play the game even more often than I already do. There could be construction, track work, signals not working, and other types of miscellaneous maintenance and even weather delays too, you know? If you have dynamic weather on, or if you set the service that you're playing to start off with rain or storms, maybe there could be a higher % chance of having storm related delays or power outages if there's wind and lightning. There are so many possibilities. Like, I'm sure you guys could name a million other things that could go into something like this. Would creating something like this be resource intensive, not just on your computer, but for the developers in terms of actually creating it and having the funds to create it? Yes, but that is what I would consider a major feature that would make sense for me to go, oh, I really want that. That changes the whole game completely. I need to go to Train Sim World 4. You know, something like that is what I was really hoping to see. We do have some other things coming that are most likely mentioned in this article that were in the Dovetail Direct stream that we'll talk about. A new game mode, free roam, which I think is really cool, and also finding out that it works in tandem with service mode. That right there is going to bring some more replay value for sure, but most of everything else that's coming definitely didn't need a new game to be added.
We'll be publishing further articles focusing on individual routes and new features in-game in the run-up to launch, so keep an eye out for more articles and more YouTube content. Follow us on socials, bottom of page, or sign up to our newsletter for more information over the coming weeks.
We've got a promo image here. The trains look good. I'm gonna say that. I personally, I'm a US player. I like the US routes more than anything in the game. I will say the UK stuff has been catching my eye. I loved Southeastern High Speed. Absolutely love that route. It was amazing. And when they extended it, made it even better. I play that one all the time. So of course I'm excited for the high speed line that's coming in the UK. Very excited for Antelope Valley, I think it's called, but finding out there aren't many services was kind of disappointing. I'm not gonna lie. I think they said there was like 90 or less than 90 total services, which is a really low number. I don't know if that's an accurate number to what is occurring in real life or not, but that is very, very low for a new route. And I just really hope it doesn't feel dead because, you know, we currently have that issue with the Northeast Corridor, but I have so many videos talking about that.
The routes and locomotives. 3 brand new routes are coming with Train Sim World 4, with a 4th fan favorite getting a new lease of life. More on that later. S-Bahn Vorarlberg, Lindau, Bludenz. Introducing Austria, the 7th nation to be part of the Train Sim World. The S-Bahn Vorarlberg line winds through the Alps to the Austria-Germany border courtesy of national operator BB, also new to Train Sim World. Big mountains and stunning scenery are the order of the day, as are a plethora of station stops on both the main line and the branch line that heads in the direction of the border with Switzerland.
I think this route is going to be interesting because this is the first time OBB is in Train Sim World, and the cool thing about this route is it's going to cross country borders. So you'll be able to go between Austria and Germany. They showed a little bit of gameplay footage, not much in the Dovetail Direct stream, and I will say I will give 10s where 10s are due, and I think the environment, the mountains, a lot of that stuff looks really, really good. They did show some winter shots, and I have to say winter still looks like utter garbage. I feel like winter, snow on the trees, snow on the tracks, I feel like that's always kind of not looked so good in Train Sim World, and I feel feel like that's where they can definitely improve the most and still haven't. Some of those shots that they showed in the winter from that stream, I was not impressed, but in the summertime, the lighting is good, the trees look great, the mountains and everything look phenomenal. Just my personal opinion.
Making the journey is BB's 4024 Talent, or the Talbot Leichter Nahverkehrstriebwagen, EMU. Variants of this unit are well accustomed to real-life service throughout Europe and even over the Atlantic in Canada, but the 4024 is specific to Austria. With new traction, a new operator and new signaling to learn, this addition to the Train Sim World map is the start of a journey through Austria. Who knows where it might take us further down the line.
In terms of personal preference, I would put this at the bottom of the list of what I am looking forward to most, but the image is good in my opinion. I think this looks great. The mountains in the back are amazing. The trees on the mountains look great. Also, I was hearing during one of the streams that they're making improvements to the overhead catenary. They're thickening them up. I definitely had an issue with that in Train Sim World 3. There was some clipping and cutting out and flickering with the overhead lines, even with anti-aliasing enabled, and I'm a PC player, so I don't know what that's like for you console players, but on PC, even with your graphics turned up, it still looked a little weird. So good to know that improvements there are coming, but again, I feel like that's something that just could have been patched into Train Sim World 3. So moving on to the next route, I'm very excited for this train and also this route.
Antelope Valley Line, Los Angeles, Lancaster. The challenge of operating through the varied terrain of California continues. On the other side of the Atlantic, the power of American diesel can be harnessed with Metrolink's F-125. Yep, you guessed it, this marks yet another new operator in-game, familiar to those in and around California taking passengers out from Los Angeles to the wider suburbs and counties.
So a brand new operator coming to Train Sim World 4, in my opinion, another great screenshot. I've been hearing that this route has a very similar feel to Cajon Pass and also the Peninsula Corridor. Some even saying that it is a pretty equal hybrid of both. So excited to really dive into this. There are grades involved, so you're going to have to climb, but doing it in a passenger train is definitely going to offer a different playing experience than with a 45-50 car freight train. But I guess the cool news is that there is freight on this route, so you'll be able to play passenger or freight services.
The Antelope Valley Line runs out of Los Angeles Union Station, the largest railroad passenger terminal in the western United States. After powering through urban LA, the line heads north to Lancaster, California, and through areas that have seen dramatic changes since the late 1800s, including the impact of the 1994 Northridge earthquake.
A little bit of history there. Here's a look at the cab car. Personally, I think this thing is ugly as sin. So ugly.
Along the way, players will recognize locations synonymous with Hollywood movies such as the LA River and even get involved in the action as part of one of the many in-game scenarios.
Which I did hear about in one of the streams. I think it was one of the most recent streams, I think. Matt said there's a scenario called Blockbuster. So that's gonna be interesting. He didn't really reveal anything about it, but something to look forward to. All right, up next, we're going to the UK.
East Coast Main Line, Peterborough, Doncaster. The East Coast Main Line is one of Britain's most important routes, guiding trains of all shapes and sizes out from London and up through to Edinburgh in Scotland. The stretch between Peterborough and Doncaster, famed for its record-breaking location at Stoke Bank, continues to provide thrilling high speeds for Laners Class 801 Azuma, which brings a sleek, modern new train to Train Sim World 4.
I'm excited for this one. I was watching the live chat during the Dovetail Direct stream. People were not feeling this. I don't know why. A lot of people were saying they chose the most boring section for this route. I personally am not familiar with UK stuff, so I don't know what would have been a more exciting addition or what would have been an exciting addition. But personally, I'm excited for this one. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. People were just saying it's a very boring stretch of track. There isn't much going on in terms of scenery and stuff. So I guess we'll have to see. Personally, I don't think things can get more boring than the LGV route, but let's see. Also, I don't know if they're gonna talk about it here. The volumetric fog thing, that's really cool, but yet once again, that's something that could have been introduced with Train Sim World 3. That did not need to be in Train Sim World 4. And Train Sim World 4 didn't need to be a thing in the first place. It's gonna be so cool seeing the God rays coming through the trees because of the fog, and also seeing the cones of light because of the volumetric fog. I know they've talked about that a little bit, but I wanna know, where are the God rays for the sun? I feel like the sun at all times, whether it's at the top of the sky or it's almost setting, the correct term to use here would be solar flares coming from the sun when you look at it. So you actually have to use your sun visor, you know? Like, you can have the sun coming directly through your window and you can see fine in the game, but in real life, that wouldn't be the case. You would actually need your sun visor. So I feel like there should definitely be a setting in the settings menu that lets you turn something like that on or off for added realism. Like with this picture here, if we were driving this train, but we were heading the other way instead of to the right and, you know, driving towards the sun, I think it would be really cool if you really couldn't see anything unless you pulled your sun visor down. There are other simulators that reflect that level of detail, but of course, Train Sim World and also Train Sim Classic are not of them.
Along the way lie 3 more big station stopping points at Grantham, Newark Northgate, and Retford. Near Newark, trains will traverse the last remaining flat crossing in Britain at Newark Flat Crossing, where the Nottingham to Lincoln line intersects with the East Coast Main Line.
That's really cool. So some history here with this one, the last remaining flat crossing. I was seeing some stuff like people saying, oh my gosh, with the editor, I can't wait to extend routes and I can't wait to add more level crossings and do things here and do things there, you know, with the already existing content that we have released for the game from Dovetail or from their partners. But I was watching on the stream last night and I did not finish that stream. I need to finish it because there's a lot that I want to say from just what I watched, which I think was like the first 45 minutes or so. But Matt was actually talking about how like extending already existing routes isn't going to be possible, or I don't want to say is impossible, but at least won't be easy because that's content that has already been baked. It's different to add new things to something, but to change something that's existing in there is going to be quite the challenge. I don't know, I feel like maybe I'm not remembering what he said correctly, but I just remember him making a point about how extending routes with the editor might not be as easy as some people think it's going to be. Of course, I personally am more interested in creating scenarios and creating new timetables and all of that stuff, and I think that's what I'm gonna focus on first, but I do hope eventually the community will be able to successfully extend routes and make them longer, and then of course create new timetables for those. I know that there were already plans to extend the Northeast Corridor, Boston to Providence down to New Haven. I'm in a Facebook group and there was definitely chatter about that, but I don't even know if that's going to be possible from the start. And what I want to know is if something like that does happen, if it is possible, will there need to be a new timetable and will that be done? Because clearly you're making a whole new section of an existing route, but there's no trains going down there. So I'm assuming that something like that would probably have to be done.
LNER are another new operator to Train Sim World, with the Class 801 Azuma being their flagship train. This overhead EMU, complete in-game with a small diesel engine for depot moves and emergencies, represents contemporary traction along the ECML and a train that British travelers, commuters, and rail fans will have long been waiting for.
Yeah, this will be exciting. This is a brand new operator, LNER. They have never been in Train Sim World before, so lots of really new stuff. I was just hoping that these new routes, these 3 new routes would have just been like a bundle for Train Sim World 3. Like, remember how we had Rush Hour for Train Sim World 2? I was hoping it would be something like that for Train Sim World 3, you know, the big fall release or late summer release, but it seems this is their new business model. I guess maybe every year we can expect a new Train Sim World game. It's just not necessary. I will say though, I feel like a positive from this is you get a really good deal for all of these routes. Like, I think the deluxe edition for 3 routes comes to like $55, and that's with the Steam loyalty discount. And it's like, normally, isn't it $40 per route? So that's like, that's $120 that it would normally be. Do I think the cost normally is too high and inflated? Absolutely. These routes should not be $40 each anyways, but less than $60 for 3 routes, plus you're getting all these new features that, yeah, should have been in Train Sim World 3 as a patch, and also the ability to transfer in your back catalog of routes from older Train Sim World games, yes, it's a good deal, but I still don't think it's necessary. The route bundle could have been done with Train Sim World 3 for the same price. All that stuff could have been patched in, because weren't there issues when Train Sim World 3 first launched with players' back catalogs of routes not transferring into Train Sim World 3 from Train Sim World 2, and that was a hot mess. I remember that whole thing. I am just crossing my fingers and hoping that the launch of this game is smooth. Definitely not holding my breath though. So if you pre-order the deluxe or special editions only, they are giving you the Flying Scotsman, the 100-mile-per-hour steam engine. This thing looks really cool, okay? But I will say, and this is just as an American player, why do we still not have any American steam? Those huge, ginormous American steam engines. I want to see a route set way back in time. Don't get me wrong, I love the UK Steam stuff, but I would love to see an American steam engine.
In Train Sim World 4 Deluxe Edition, the historic importance of the East Coast Mainline is enhanced with the introduction of the world's most famous locomotive, Liner A3 class Flying Scotsman. This icon of the railways, built in 1923, today runs at up to 75 miles per hour across Britain, bringing joy not just to rail fans and enthusiasts, but to anyone with an eye for incredible engineering and an appreciation for the past. On November 30th, 1934, Flying Scotsman broke the 100 miles per hour barrier, becoming the first steam locomotive officially to do so.
That's pretty impressive, I do have to say. And I'm pretty sure we will be able to break that 100 mile per hour barrier in game as well. I think the images for this thing look very, very good.
Flying Scotsman, owned by the National Railway Museum, celebrates its centenary in 2023, with a number of visits and rail tours taking place across Britain. There's no better time to step into the cab in-game and take control of this world-renowned locomotive, either back to where it was built, in Doncaster, or beyond, using the raft of upgraded tools for Scenario Planner. More on this further down.
Oh, we have a lot to talk about, guys. I feel like this video is going to be like 1 to 2 hours long. This is going to take me so long to edit. Oh, the Scenario Planner. You know, I don't even remember what they're adding, but when I see the picture, it's all going to come back to me. But I just remember being so disappointed. Like, they could have added more. Trust me, if we weren't getting that editor, if they did not announce that at the end of Dovetail Direct, I was going to be fuming about the Scenario Planner 2.0. I just expected them to do so much more with that for as long as they made us wait for it. And if anything, I feel bad for the console players because they're not going to be able to really do much in terms of customization. Like, they're getting some new things, but they're not going to have any sort of editor like PC players. And from the sounds of it, it doesn't sound like what PC players create, you know, they're going to be able to share with console players at least anytime soon anyways. So I hope at least that changes sometime in the future.
LNR Class A3 Flying Scotsman is exclusive to deluxe and special editions and cannot currently be purchased as a separate add-on.
I am not surprised by that in the least bit. They want you to get the special edition. Is it possible later down the line they'll have it to be purchased separately? It's possible, but I don't know whether they will. But they're not going to say that because they want you to pre-order it now. So maybe they will down the line, but if you don't want to take the risk, you probably should pre-order the deluxe or special editions. Honestly, not surprised here. Typical Dovetail marketing. We have the Rail Pool Vectron. This is yet another deluxe special edition only. I love the screenshot. Love the light reflections on the rails.
In Deluxe Edition, players will also be able to learn and operate one of the most high-tech locomotives ever to come to Train Sim World, the BR-193 Vectron. Represented by leasing company Railpool, the Vectron will be available to run on freight services, formed of new Enos wagons, across the Dresden, Riesa route add-on, more on that shortly, as well as S-Bahn Vorarlberg, providing a rare opportunity to use the same locomotive across 2 different countries in Train Sim World.
That's really cool. New loco for freight services, and I believe Siemens built this? Not entirely sure.
This thoroughly modern computer on wheels will have a host of interactive screens to engage with, making for an authentic experience both in the setup and running of the locomotive.
Alright, so Dresden to Riesa is getting upgraded, and this is the route that you will be able to use the Vectron on. Or I should say, one of the routes.
The home for the Vectron is an upgraded version of the hugely popular Nahverkehr Dresden, Riesa route add-on, add-on, complete with a new timetable, volumetric skies, TOD4 lighting, and the full set of Train Sim World 4 features. This popular route hosts a variety of services to operate across a line with origins back in the 1830s but representative of the thriving modern stations throughout the Saxony region. Both fast and slow lines ensure a mix of traffic, from the busy commuter services of the DB-BR 442, Talent 2, and the push-pull capability of the DB-BR 146.2 passenger trains to the versatile DB-BR 143 and the freight-hauling Marseille BR 185.5. The addition of Vectron has necessitated a rework of the timetable, giving a new lease of life to this popular German route add-on. Players that already own the previous version of Nahverkehr Dresden, Riesa can take advantage of the upgrades by purchasing any edition of Train Sim World 4. The BR-193 Vectron is exclusive to deluxe and special editions and cannot currently be purchased as a separate add-on. New players can explore the upgraded route and Vectron by opting for either deluxe or special edition.
Okay, I do want to say this is a great upgrade. New timetable, volumetric skies, which it didn't have before because I think it was a Train Sim World 2 route if I'm not mistaken. TOD4 lighting, all the good stuff. But here's what I do want to say as well. It is such a money grab. If you already own this route and you already purchased it, you can't take advantage of any of these upgraded things. You can't have the new timetable, you don't get all the new stuff unless you purchase any version of Train Sim World 4. So of course, even if you already own the route, you're not going to be able to have any of these upgrades for free. They do really love their money, and I know they're a business. I know how that goes. I know how marketing goes as well, but sometimes I really feel like they push the line on that so much. Not everything needs to be a paid update. And of course below, just like with the Flying Scotsman, they list that the Vectron is exclusive to deluxe and special editions. It cannot currently be purchased as a separate add-on, and they know that people that want this and want to use this on the upgraded route, which they have to get by purchasing one of the editions, they're gonna go, well, I want the upgraded route and I want the Vectron. So the only way I'm going to get that is if I buy the deluxe or special edition, and that's going to cost the most. So they are really prying the money out of people here with this one. Yeah, and they kind of say that here with this last line. New players can explore the upgraded route and Vectron by opting for either deluxe or special edition. So the highest pricing tiers for Train Sim World 4, which should not even be a thing. All right, we're getting into the good stuff, guys. The creative tools. Oh, I have so much to say about this. Let's just jump right in. We've been waiting for Scenario Planner 2.0 for God knows how many years. I remember at one point, I don't know, maybe I'm gaslighting myself. Wasn't this on the roadmap and then they just took it off and never spoke about it again for a while? Like, it's been years. Like, I'm trying to think, wasn't it like 2021 that this was last on a roadmap? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it has come sooner than that to a roadmap, but they just stopped talking about this completely. And I was just thinking we were never going to get it. They were never going to focus on giving us more creative tools, but Scenario Planner 2.0 is coming, guys, and no, it's not coming as a free update to a game you've already paid for and a game you already own. You gotta pay for a new one. Let's get into this.
Your hobby, your adventure, your way,
and your wallet.
In addition to the routes and locomotives, new features form a crucially important and exciting part of Train Sim World 4, bringing new ways to enjoy your railway hobby, embark on your adventures and play your way. Updated Scenario Planner 2.0.
Okay, Scenario Planner 2.0, reworked, easier to use user interface. We got a look of this during the Dovetail Direct stream. I should have just reacted to it. I should have hit play on that thing, put my face cam on, and because I just had so much to say when I was watching it, and all of those thoughts kind of just ran out of my head. But oh man, it was quite the reaction, let me tell you. I will react to things like that from now on because I honestly thought it was a joke. I really thought it was a joke, a lot of it. Like, yeah, it's cool stuff, but I'm like, all of this in a new game? Are you for real? So we finally have custom start times. That should have been a thing from the start. Like, that could have just been a part of Scenario Planner 1. you know, call me a whiner or whatever you want, but like these are valid points. Like these are valid criticisms. Like a lot of this stuff, it's just, why is it coming so late? Portal support for AI trains. I really like this one. Basically what this means is as you're driving along, you can have opposing AI traffic go in and out of portals so that you can have more traffic on your route without basically hitting your limit of services that you can put on. So virtually you can make your scenarios made with Scenario Planner 2.0 a little more lively and active. There is finally weather selection, so gone are the days where you actually had to set your weather settings before a service and then close out, then go into Scenario Planner to get the weather settings in your scenario that you had to select from a completely different game mode. You can actually select the weather for your scenario when you create it. And I'm also hearing that apparently you can have dynamic weather too with your scenarios, which I think is awesome. Honestly, I would have expected that. In this last one, I'm not gonna lie, when I was watching the Dovetail Direct stream, I did giggle a little bit. You can add introductory text to a scenario. So just something at the start before you actually start the scenario. You can type basically, I think, anything you want. I was hoping it would be more along the lines of you could have text prompts come up throughout the scenario, you know, but you just get one text box at the beginning and that's it. It's something, it's better than nothing, I know, but really all of these things being a 2.0, like most of these are really small things that should have been patched in for free to Scenario Planner 1.0. I'm gonna tell you what a Scenario Planner 2.0 was in my mind. The ability to set destination arrival times, because you still can't do that even with Scenario Planner 2.0. You can't set that you need to be at this station at this time, at the next station at this time, and at your final destination at this time. You still just show up when you show up and you don't have a clock that you have to run on. That needs to be implemented. This is a personal preference, but I would really love to actually see a two-dimensional map view when you're in your Scenario Planner of the paths of the trains, seeing exactly what sidings are taking and what tracks they're on, because sometimes, especially for routes that you're not familiar with, it'll say track 2, platform 3, and you might not know exactly where that is or what that looks like. And for people like me that are more of a visual learner, seeing where things are and seeing where things go on a map just makes it a lot easier. I don't know if something like that is even a possibility, but that's kind of my idea of what I see a Scenario Planner 2.0 as, kind of more major, vast improvements. These are just kind of small things.
A key feature of Train Sim World Scenario Planner has been the ability to utilize a diverse range of owned content to operate any train on any track using your own created scenarios. For Scenario Planner 2.0, this tool adds a number of options to move closer towards detailed scenarios and movements, with chained paths now a feature for Train Sim World 4 routes. Chaining paths will allow you to plan a route from A to B, but then continue back to A, or even on to C and so forth. The ability to set times, weather, and add more detail to descriptions for sharing in Creators Club will also be implemented, giving the tool much more flexibility for creativity.
I will say the chaining paths is pretty cool. I'll give them that. You can plan a route from A to B, but then back to A, or even on to C and forth. So I'm really happy for our console players, at least in that regard, because obviously, like I mentioned, they're not getting the editor, so they're not going to be able to create the very detailed scenarios that PC players will have the ability to create using the editor, so at least there's something better for them. All right, we're on to the Livery Designer 2.0, something I personally don't use, but this is what many are looking forward to. We have a reworked, easier to use UI, livery, description, an undo and a redo button. Again, that's a small thing that should have been there from the start or just patched in for free to Train Sim World 3 and Train Sim World 2, and it's like, why does this need to be in a whole new game that you have to pay for? You know, completely unnecessary, yet once again, I feel like I'm just gonna say that over and over again and sound like a broken record. Toggle livery usage for AI trains. Text entry, font selection, 1,000 layers, which is really cool. I don't know what the current limit is. It's either 300 or 400 or 500. I don't remember, but it's a big jump. I know that. So that's really cool. Curious to see what kind of creations are made with that many layers. And of course, additional operations operators and fonts. I think this is decent, but a lot of these are just like small things that should have been patched for free, yet once again.
Livery Designer also gets some upgrades. If you've ever made a mistake using this tool, then the addition of undo/redo options might just save your next masterpiece. Unlocking more creativity is the lifting of the layer limit to 1000, and text options now appear by inputting characters into the UI rather than placing individual letters. Font selection will also be available, including the Johnston and Rail alphabet fonts. Once your livery has had its final touches and you're ready to start using it on the rails, the options to toggle on/off the livery ensures that it appears when you'd like it to, without having to delete or recreate it when you want to enable it into your favorite route.
Alright guys, we're on to photo mode. Should have been there from the start. So many games get free patches, and this is just another thing that's in Train Sim World 4 that you gotta pay for. It is neat though. You can pause your game, move the camera and fly around and get the perfect angle, the perfect photo, all of that. I don't know why when they first said photo mode, this wasn't my idea. I thought it was yet another major feature, like how earlier I mentioned, random delays, random events in timetable mode. Like something like that would be a great selling point for a new game like Train Sim World 4. And I was also thinking when they said photo mode, I don't know why, but my first thought was kind of like a rail fan mode, maybe something that operates with service mode where you can spawn in at any station and your sole purpose and job is to video the trains or take pictures of the trains and you get points and stuff. Like there could be a whole new game mode for something like that that works with service mode, so you can rail fan from the outside and earn points and score for your career profile. And also another major game mode, something that they've actually touched on I think once before. I don't remember what route it was on, but I think there was some sort of scenario where you actually got to be like a ticket collector on the train and you got to go to each person and get their ticket, like something like that. I want to see a game mode for that, but I don't want that to just be one single scenario for a select route or one scenario for even each route. I want that to be its own game mode that works in tandem with service mode. So you're not just playing the same scenario every time to be a conductor, but you can play different services in service mode and ride the trains and collect tickets and do that stuff. Like there should be so many other modes that work with service mode. Random delays working with service mode, being a conductor in service mode, and also something that they're probably going to talk about in this post, free roam. It is confirmed that it does work with service mode, so it's like something like that is what I would consider to be a really good new selling point for a game, but there just should have been way more there, So of course with photo mode, they market this as pausing the game to take the perfect screenshot, adjustable camera settings, filters and enhancements, and all new personal in-game gallery. So I think that is really cool. Also, the ability to edit and customize these photos in-game in case, you're not really a photo editor or you don't have the ability to throw these things into Photoshop.
Screenshot competitions just got a bit more serious. A dedicated photo mode now gives you the option to pause the live action, set up the angles, admire the scenery, and enhance shots with filters, blur, and exposures, giving more freedom to capture your journey at its best. Examples of the kinds of shots you'll be able to take in Train Sim World 4 can be seen in this article, and we're very excited to see what you, the Train Sim World community, can capture with this brand new creative tool.
So there have been some upgrades to the Creators Club, reworked, easier to use UI, filter based on content you own, so you don't have to see a bunch of things that you can't even download because you don't own it, and improved search functionality. Again, these are all things that should have been rolled out to Train Sim World 3 players, but you already knew that I was going to say that. This next part is really interesting. So they're upgrading the scoring and the medals. So previously we had bronze, silver, and gold, but now we have a brand new tier, which is platinum, 90% of maximum possible score, including stops and safety systems. So you're going to be rewarded for all of the great things you do, including making sure that you're operating with safety systems. Here's what I want to know. And I had this thought when I was watching the Dovetail Direct stream. I even think I yelled it at the screen. I was like, how are we going to get a platinum medal on the routes where with some of these trains, the safety systems do not work? For example, on the Northeast Corridor, New York to Trenton, that route's been out for quite some time. There are still issues with the signals and safety systems. Granted, a lot of the safety system issues they did fix. You couldn't acknowledge your alerter when your brakes were in suppression and you came to a stop because of the automatic emergency brake. But now you have ATC automatic train control slowing you down when it absolutely shouldn't be, therefore making you late to stations. So is it going to even be possible to achieve platinum with some of these routes that have broken signals or safety systems? It's like, oh, here's a new medal tier, but you might not be able to reach it because our routes and trains are kind of broken still. Sorry. It's nice, but I don't fully see the point in that. Like, yeah, I'll earn extra points for having safety systems on and driving with them, but I'm going to lose points now because my train has emergency stopped because it wouldn't acknowledge, or it slowed me down when it shouldn't have, and now I'm late to my next stop. So is it really going to be worth it, you know?
Scoring has long been a way for Train Sim World players to judge how well they're driving a certain route, but the measure of action points has focused primarily on timing and the accuracy of stopping at stations. In its updated guise, scoring now reflects the challenge posed by enabling safety systems in the cab and having things set up in the correct configurations. Driving without wipers on in inclement weather, leaving the train in an unsafe manner, braking too harshly or coupling with too much force will also penalize you, making the final scoring much more representative of how professional your run really was.
I will say I do like that, but just think, you know, if something happens out of your control, whether it's a bug or a glitch, and you get emergency braked when you shouldn't have been emergency braked, and now you lose points because of that when it wasn't your fault, it was just the game being broken, I can see that pissing a lot of people off, and I know that that would definitely piss me off. So I don't want to speak on this too much. I definitely want to see how this actually is represented in game for sure. All right, so we've got updated ease of access, improvements, the locomotive difficulty tiering, improved player assist to get you out of sticky situations, simpler HUD, plus the new mini HUD, which it looked pretty cool, plus something I have been wanting for so long is finally coming to Train Sim World. I personally prefer seeing a linear line of what's approaching, speed changes, signals as it's moving towards you versus actually having a countdown of how many kilometers, miles, yards, feet, meters, whatever it is away from you. I mean, I have adjusted to that now, but I much prefer from Train Sim Classic seeing it on a linear line moving towards you. Added class 323 and 8F to Training Center. Okay, and improved key mapping for accessibility. So good things, again, should not be paid upgrades. These should be also made for the older games like Train Sim World 3, for example.
We've also added unliveried versions of the Class 323 EMU from Birmingham Cross City / Glossop Line and the LMS 8F steam locomotive from Spirit of Steam / Peak Forest to the training center so that players can get to grips with some easier forms of traction. Players will not need to own the associated routes mentioned above in order to access these locomotives in Train Sim World 4.
All right, on to the graphical, weather, and lighting improvements. So more on this. I've mentioned them briefly from time to time, but now we are going to see in detail of what is actually changing.
More generally throughout these new routes, including the updated Dresden, Riesa, a number of graphical improvements around weather and lighting have been implemented to enhance the driving experience from inside the cab. These include volumetric fog, improved rain on windscreen effects, controller haptics, plus light bar and audio functionality for PlayStation controllers, moments in scenarios.
Okay, I don't remember the moments and scenarios thing ever being discussed. Maybe I blinked, maybe I went to go get a drink or something, but I don't remember that at all. So if you guys know what that's about, please enlighten me. I might have to do some research after this video, but I remember them talking about the controller haptics. I think that's really cool. Pretty neat improvements. The volumetric fog, that looked amazing. Again, seeing the cones of light in front of your lights, seeing the sun coming through the trees, through the fog, improved rain on windscreen effects. They gave us a look at that and that looked so much better. Pretty good improvements, but I'm gonna say it again, I don't think these are big enough things to warrant a brand new game you have to pay for. All right, you guys, on to free roam. I am very excited for this one, actually. I'm gonna say this is probably not at the top, but very close to the top of what I am most excited for and what I feel like is considered a very good addition with substance. Spawn trains anywhere at any time. Set paths anywhere you like. The world is yours to create your own tasks and evolve your session as you drive around on the fly. Use your entire collection as you wish. Off the rails mode, squared with a cherry on top. I like this because Matt also mentioned that you can use this with service mode. That is going to be so fun. You're basically creating your own scenario in a way. I kind of see free roam as like a scenario planner 3.0 in a way. You can jump into service mode, I guess, with everything moving around as it normally would on its schedules, and you can just place a random train in and have it go through the route, and I guess it's just going to follow the signals of what is coming and what's on the track, and if you have to wait or go ahead of something. I don't know how that's going to work. I have so many questions also about the priority system with free roam. Is it automatically going to always give priority to services that are in the timetable versus you in free roam, or are you going to be given the higher priority? So many questions. I want to see how that works. I want to play around with it, but it just sounds interesting and intriguing. I feel like every time you jump into this, you're going to have a different experience, and that's the kind of gameplay that I personally like.
If you've ever wanted to be serendipitous or enjoy more of Train Sim World on the fly, then free roam's new spawning and despawning tools will allow you to do just that. Whilst on foot, options within the UI will bring a whole new dynamic and an adaptive play style so that you choose what train to operate, where and how. Pathing options are also a thing. Once your train of choice is spawned in, you can set the path you want and head off to your final destination using the 2D map. If you don't fancy operating this train yourself, get the AI to do it. The power to create your own virtual train set is in your hands.
Yeah, like just the more I'm reading about it, I think this is probably one of the most exciting things that's coming to everyone. Like even console players are going to be able to really enjoy this. This is a pretty big addition in my opinion. I feel like this is going to be a lot of fun. At first I wasn't too interested in it because I was like, oh, an empty route, an empty world, and it's just me driving around. Okay, that's kind of fun. I can kind of do that in scenario planner, but you know, with a few more features. But knowing it works in tandem with service mode, oh, absolutely not. This is going to be way better than scenario planner, even scenario planner 2.0. All right, guys, we are on to the PC editor. This blew me away. When I saw that this was going to be a thing, my jaw dropped because I didn't think this was ever going to come. I truly convinced myself that we were at a point where we would never see a PC editor. I didn't realize how hard they were working to make this happen, and I kind of feel a little bad because I thought they just didn't care, or they just wanted to be super money hungry and sell us routes, which I guess could be the motive for the company itself. But the developers themselves, they're amazing people, and they have been working very hard to get this to us. And they kind of explained in one of the streams that it was hard to get it to us for the longest time for many reasons that I'm not going to describe here because I probably wouldn't translate that information accurately, but none of that matters because the PC editor is coming in beta form, and of course throughout the next couple of months they're going to be updating it apparently according to the roadmap.
We'll have much more to talk about on the PC editor beta in a future article, but in essence we're giving ambitious PC players the tools required to one day make your own gameplay features, including routes and locomotives. This highly technical feature will test the skills of the community, and we can't wait to see what amazing creations players will make with this feature.
They are giving us their literal tool set, so we can make trains, we can make routes, we can make scenarios the exact same way they make them, with cool pop-ups and different things happening. And yes, it's probably going to be hard, it's going to be challenging, especially if you're new to Unreal Engine editor, but the opportunity is there. there. The learning curve will be steep, but again, the opportunity is there. They're giving us access to their version of the Unreal Engine 4 toolset. These same tools our teams use. Create anything you like, gameplay, trains, and even your own routes. You'll be able to create routes, locomotives, and scenarios from day one. There will be additional updates to the editor to improve experience and shareability, and it is PC only. I am not surprised that it's PC only, and I wanted to talk about this for a second. A lot of console people are mad they're not getting this, and I don't see this ever coming. They have said, you know, we hope to get it to console, or we hope that console will be able to download things PC players make. Maybe it'll come in the future. I feel like they're just kind of saying that. I don't think it's ever going to happen. There is a lot that needs to happen behind the scenes with Sony and Microsoft. Things need to get approved. There needs to be compatibility between PC and consoles. Thinking that you're going to have something like this on a console is like saying that you think consoles are going to have the mod support for Train Sim World that PC has. It's probably never going to happen. That's just my honest opinion, but having these things to do from day one on PC, amazing. And also seeing here that they hope and plan to update this and also improve experience and shareability is really cool too. It would be nice in the future if they could make it so console can download things that PC makes. That'll make things a lot better for console players. And also, if you are a console player that owns a PC, of course, you can make things your own and then you can upload it and download it on your console. That would be a possibility if something like this were to happen, but for now, it is just a PC only thing.
This will give you the opportunity to create that unique scenario to share with your friends, build your own trains, or recreate in loving detail that route you always dreamed of. You'll be able to download the PC editor, beta, over on the Epic Games Store on release, but players on both Steam and Epic will be able to make use of this new feature.
I was about to say, because I don't play the game on Epic, so will I be able to get the editor? And yes, Steam or Epic, you can get the editor, but I'm pretty sure the editor is on the Epic Games Store. I do want to say though, they're not just giving you the editor, like you can't just go and download it. Apparently you need to purchase Train Sim World 4 to get the free editor. Come on now. You see what I mean? Like you didn't need to do that. That is not necessary. So it's just like you gotta upgrade to Train Sim World 4 to even get the editor. Oh, whatever at this point. Cha-ching, cha-ching, am I right? So pre-order in early access starts September 21st. I mentioned that at the beginning of the video. And of course, Train Sim World 4 will release for Windows, PC, PlayStation, Xbox consoles on Tuesday, the 26th. I believe you get it early if you pre-order the deluxe or special editions. Or, oh no, I'm wrong. Ignore me. You get early access if you pre-order. So I guess you can pre-order any of them and you're going to get early access. For the deluxe, coming in at $69.99 US. Whew. Training Center, Antelope Valley, East Coast Mainline, Vorarlberg, probably mispronounced that. I apologize. Flying Scotsman, Dresden Ryza, and the Vectron. They do list here 4 more Train Sim World compatible routes. I'm pretty sure they are routes that have come out pre-Train Sim World 4. You do not get those if you buy the deluxe edition. Special edition includes absolutely everything. That one is a whopping $109, but you gotta think you're getting 1, 2, 3. You're getting 3 routes plus 4, so you're getting 7 routes, 2 logos, and a route upgrade. So when you do the math, I guess that's a decent price, but that still doesn't take away from the fact that a lot of these upgraded features we spent most of this video talking about should have been in a free update. But this is what they do because this is how they get the money, guys, because they know people are gonna buy this. I don't agree with it, but it's good marketing. And of course, the standard edition is just the training center and the 3 new routes, not the extra locos, not the Dresden Ryza route upgrade, and you don't get the 4 more Train Sim World compatible routes, and that is priced at $50, which when you think about it, 3 brand new routes that are normally, what, $40 each? That would be $120 US. That's $50 US. You're getting a good deal. So they have a discount of up to 25%, which I also talked about at the beginning of the video on select platforms with deluxe and special editions, granting 5-day early access and bonus decals for Livery, editor, and a downloadable soundtrack is also available with a pre-order on Steam. Interesting. Okay, so I guess I was wrong. If you pre-order the deluxe and special editions, you get the early access. If you pre-order the standard edition, I guess you don't get the early access. Jeez, that's kind of even more foul. Like they're like, we'll give it to you early, but we want all the money, baby. Woo! Let me know what you guys think of this. There's a lot of content coming, guys. guys. So subscribe, turn your notifications on. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Take care and happy rail simming, guys.